Hello there, fellow wanderers of the field. Starless Plains here. Welcome back to another episode of A Letter. Now, yes, there's been a couple of things that has been a while. One of them would be me. Yeah, it's been roughly about a couple of weeks since I've actually made uploads. Yeah, my uploads are a little bit scarce right now because of work, basically money troubles, and also having no Wi-Fi for about a week, and that was really hectic. And plus, me having oral surgery to take out these two molars, even though me and my husband got the Wi-Fi back, but I gotta make sure I think of my own recovery first. So, and another thing, the letter. It's been about, oh my god, 4 months since the last time I actually made this episode of this. So, yeah, it's been a long time, and I wanted to make sure I pick it up. So, the last time I remember, we're in Marianne's perspective. She's in the Wright's penthouse, I believe. And, trying to wait for, Mrs. Wright, but apparently she's been having some kind of, visions or something about this woman that, she has in her memory or something, but I don't know. It's been a while since I've, played this game, but I'm hoping I'll be able to pick this up from now on. Alright. There's no denying the clients when they invite me over the table. Though it is too personal to share a meal in their home, it would be terribly rude to deny their invitation. Besides, the pancakes did look and smell heavenly. A bowl of clotted cream, fruits, syrup, jams, and other spreads are laid out next to them, making for a colorful arrangement. If this was a brunch with friends, I would have gladly helped myself to the whole lot. But as it is, I accepted just a few pieces of pancakes and topped it off with lemon and sugar. Ooh, that does sound nice.
You know, I was a tiny bit serious when I said I wanted a helipad.
Really? You're that fucking spoiled?
And you're not serious about the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables?
Well, I do want those too, but I know you'll agree to those.
Wow.
We're talking about interiors here, honey. You don't handle exterior designs and whatever handles those sorts of projects do you, Marianne?
I'm able, actually, and willing to take a project of that nature. I was an architect in Ireland before. Of course, that's another contract entirely. I also suggest we finish the house itself before working on any additions to the rest of the property. There won't be any problems about ownership this time, will there? Pardon if I'm crossing a line, but the acquisition was rather quick.
Oh, don't you worry. We've got everything sorted this time around. I've talked to Miss Cooper and Mr. John from BRC, as well as the old owners.
Old owners? There used to be owners before them? I thought the mansion was abandoned for a long time because of the curse. Or people thought there was actually a curse, and that the mansion was haunted. I don't know, so many questions that have yet to be answered.
Everything has been paid in full, and all we're waiting for is the paperwork from the land registry. They're letting us move in as soon as we please. It's not like they were living there in the first place.
Okay then.
That's good to hear. The problems that could arise from renovating another person's home would be... well, let's not dwell on it.
Problems would arise from renovating another person's home? I wonder why.
First off, we'll want to know how you want the place to look. It's pretty furnished as is, but I understand if you want to modernize the whole thing.
Actually, I'd prefer to keep the place looking as it is, but at the same time, I want modern appliances.
So she wants to keep it as the same as it is, like back in what year it is? Oh my god, I can't remember. But yeah, probably a little modern touch here and there, just to keep it old-fashioned.
You worked on the Ludgate's Christchurch summer residence. I do remember there being an oven I thought was a simple drawer before. Make them look vintage, antique, blend in with the rest of the decor.
Customize appliances then. I can't find someone for that, and if you can't tell me what you specifically want, it'll hasten up the process. We're talking about electronic appliance manufacturers. If you have a preferred brand to work with.
Splendid! So, what is next on our agenda? All the other interior designers we've hired in the past did not have us this involved.
I stopped. What sort of half-baked designer did that? If I knew who they were, I would have words. This isn't the time or place for it, however. Instead, I used this brief pause to pull out the floor plans I brought with me.
We'll have to figure out what you want to do with the rooms. Here, we can have a quick run-through.
What is that little room next to the master's bedroom?
Oh, that little room next to the master? Wasn't it the same place where, Isabella went over there and found the letter? Or was that the attic? I don't know.
Oh, as far as I could tell when I saw it, it's a second bedroom of sorts. Used, apparently, for the ladies in waiting who has served Lady Charlotte Ermengarde, which is strange, as that isn't the norm for these sorts of houses.
Ladies in waiting for Lady Charlotte Ermengarde?
Well, we're not stuffing Johans in there. He won't fit. You don't suppose we could turn it into a walk-in closet and a dressing room?
I love fashion, but do we really need to turn an entire room into a walk-in closet, dear? We'll have large closets and a wardrobe in the bedroom already.
Well, that's technically true.
Says the one who takes 3/5 of our closet. Well, what do you suggest we do with it?
I thought a utility room of some sort would be nice. A craft room where I can do fun things. Or maybe a children's room might be nice. You know, for when Kylie comes over. Or if Rochelle visits once she's had a baby.
1, you are not inviting that witch. And 2, there's a whole mansion for Kylie to play in. We don't need a children's room, and you don't even do arts and crafts.
Yeah, for someone who really doesn't like children and someone who has actually impregnated her.
I'd like to turn the guest's room and the study into my personal office, by the way, if you don't mind.
Study.
You can turn it into a personal office if I can have my utility room. It's just the one room of the many. I'm taking that room for myself, no matter what you say, dearie. So you might as well take this deal. You're always out doing business anyway. The real problem is the theater. Whatever are we going to do with all that space?
Fine, we could turn it into our own personal cinema, I suppose. Might as well have it, if you plan on not having a telly in the parlor.
Yes, well, I don't want guests to be glued to the telly when they come over for a meal and some tea. By the looks of things, we can keep the rooms as what they are on the ground floor, though. The ballroom would be perfect for parties.
Do we really need a dining hall, though? I don't suppose we can't convert it into a garage.
What for? You can park your cars outside.
I swear to God, he is so fucking spoiled and always think about himself.
What about that room? Right there, in the northeast corner.
Northeast corner?
That's sleeping quarters for the household help?
Oh, that is perfect! Johans will be glad if we have other staff members who stayed in. It'd be convenient so they don't have to make the trip from Luxbourne to the mansion when they're needed.
You'll definitely need a lot more people to maintain a property of this size.
Yeah, the mansion is that big.
The mansion is really a lot bigger than I thought.
Exactly.
Look at all these rooms! I didn't even know there was a music room next to the parlor because of what happened.
So what happened? What happened?
There was a grand piano in there too, when we checked during the tour.
Did you hear that, Luke? Maybe you can take up playing the piano again. Oh, you should have seen him when we were younger, Marianne.
It's not like I was very good with the thing.
Oh, hush you. You were no Mozart, but I loved hearing you play nonetheless. He'd come over to my home and he'd play such fun tunes. He'd sing too and I'd dance and it was just...
Mr. Wright playing the piano? I can't imagine that. Neither can I. But the earnest way in which Mrs. Wright said so told otherwise.
Anyway, what do you think of these plans, Marianne?
Are we not even going to consider one of my requests? Not even just a closet or just a garage? Now, that isn't fair, is it? You're not the only one who's going to be living here.
I hardly see how that's unfair. I told you you're getting your office and your theater, the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables. That sounds fair, does it not, Marianne?
Well... yes, it sounds fair. We can compromise. You know what? Mr. Wright is so spoiled and rotten, and he's always getting what he wants all the time. And plus, he's probably gonna get a lot more than what he bargained for than what Mrs. Wright can do. What's her name again? Flip. It's been a while since I've actually known all these names. Sheesh. Let me look at the relationships first. Let's see. Oh, Hannah's up there right now. And yeah, the last time I've actually played this game, there's actually a little bit of an update. For these, relationships right over here, it'll let you know, if it'll be rising or it'll be falling, if it either shows a plus or a minus sign on it, so... ah, it seems like Hannah's up there. Let's see. If she's right over here... we can compromise, but I don't know if she would like that. So... yeah, sounds fair. Let's see. Ah, it actually grew. I actually chose right. Screw you on that, Luke. Alright. Mrs. Wright has her points, though. I really don't want to butt into the spat of a husband and wife. But, with the way the two were looking at me to settle this, I might as well just keep to the facts instead of giving an opinion.
Mr. Wright, your plan isn't quite feasible from an architectural perspective. I'm not even sure how much we can do without closer inspection. Well, the one about the garage, at least. A walk-in closet is easy enough, but the garage?
See, a garage isn't architecturally feasible, and it isn't going to be financially sound as well. We're already going to spend a lot on your other requests. You have several acres of land to park on already.
What? Did you calculate that on the fly? Financially sound my foot. You're probably just thinking up of imaginary numbers.
Might I remind you that I was a financial manager? I also looked over and approved the expenses of our other houses. I know the rough costs of these things by now, love. Masters in business administration, major in accounting. Sometimes I think you forget that I'm not as dumb as I act.
More importantly, he's just too self-centered and so focused on himself. That catches my attention more than anything. It sounds more unbelievable that Whiskey playing the piano. She really didn't seem like the type.
Business administration and accounting? What university?
Lux upon you, of course. Go Lux Dragons, red and gold.
Excuse me, how about we move on this chit-chat ahead and do whatever else needs to be done sometime today? I had to cancel my appointments for this, you know.
Oh, shut up.
We might as well do a proper inspection with the designer this time, just to get it out of the way.
Yes, no time like the present. You want a thorough inspection? Might as well do it now. We actually took another look at the property yesterday, though it was brief. But I'm sure you would want to see it yourself.
Ah, shit. Sorry about that. It's not like I have much of a choice, do I? Alright. Riding to the Ermengarde mansion in their rice is an awkward affair. Not only I am worried about scuffing the expensive leather seats, but I'm also worried about getting in the middle of another couple spat. And the tension thick in the air, I can feel them staring at each other any time. Nobody's saying anything. Up until Mr. Wright tells his valet to turn the damn radio off. And for a moment, I think he might start. But instead, he just stays quiet. And so do the rest of us. In the end, the sufferable silence stays. I've never been so glad to see a house. Stepping out of a car up to the mansion meant the end of an uncomfortable ride, and I could finally take a deep breath of fresh air. The beauty of the place never fails to make me gaze and wonder every time I see it as well. Mrs. Wright moved towards the front door, keys in hand, and I can already hear Mr. Wright plotting.
Alright, Johans, we're going to go in, but I want you to look around the place. Familiarize yourself with it. Know every nook and cranny, every inch of the lot. Go and see where we can put that vineyard and the other things we talked about. We'll want to know where to station security as well, so go around the perimeter and figure it out.
Scout the property and circle the perimeter on foot.
Oh, jeez.
You do know this is 46 acres of land, sir.
Well, you are not driving a car over the grass.
Wow.
Put those long, spidery legs of yours to good use. I didn't hire you to stand around and look intimidating. Go, mush.
Someday, I like to ask how Johans can even stand and tolerate the man. Exactly. Why doesn't he just quit? Certainly, the pay can't be that good. Even I'm a bit put off by our mutual employer. The only thing that keeps me from the bailing the fact is that we already signed a contract. At least, I'll only be working with them during the duration of the project. He works with them every day.
Sometimes I think you hired me to make me suffer for your amusement.
Someday I asked. I feel a bit bad for him. If it's any consolation, he'll be away from Mr. Wright, if only for a little while. We're able to enter the mansion after a bit of standing out there in the sun. Oh my god. This brings me back to the first episodes. Oh my god, it's so nostalgic. And it's almost gonna be a year since I've actually played this series, and I have yet to finish it. Shit. I mean, the first episode was actually released. The first episode that I did of this was back in August 24th, and that was also mine and my husband's wedding anniversary, so... Wow, I can't believe it's been that long. Alright. This wretched, strange sunlight that is far too alien and rare. There had been a bit of a problem, with the missus not knowing which key was which. The first item on the agenda would be the grand staircase. It seemed sturdy during the open house, but a closer inspection might say otherwise. There are no obvious marks of damage nor wear and tear, probably rethreaded during renovations. Peeking onto the grand carpet, the wood is properly installed with the bark placed down to prevent cupping. The carpet itself could use a vacuum, though. The structural conditions, from what I can see without actually dismantling the thing, look to be in good shape, and the handrails and support posts are firm. The work on it should be commended. I can't look much more into the rest of the foyer, however, because Mr. Wright starts to hurry us into checking the dining hall.
So, what do you think? Certainly we can't turn this area into a garage.
It's Jacobean architecture. I'd say these would be pilasters and not buttresses, but you never really know. They really liked mixing up these elements. You could say it was pretty avant-garde at the time. We might hit a support beam if we're not careful.
And in layman's terms?
From what I see here, we could risk great damage to the house if we try to turn the dining hall into a garage.
That probably sounds about right, because the Ermengarde mansion has been around for quite some time. Maybe decades, or probably a century or something. I don't know. So, yeah. That would be catastrophic if they were to change it into a garage. The man didn't look too pleased at this. There's a look of disappointment before he sighs and looks around the place with the air of defeat. When he moves to speak, I dread another unreasonable demand. Again.
This will stay a dining hall then. But if I may have another request instead...
Oh my god.
At least spruce the place up with some flowers, some plants or something. It feels so old and dead in here.
That's hardly unreasonable. Daffodils are a must, I presume.
The look that passes between the two of them, there is a genuine look of fondness there. This is the first time I've seen such an exchange between the two of them. If anyone are to see them like this, there's a little doubt that they love each other.
Of course, and I want a garden full of them. Now, if you excuse me, I'd like to look at the rest of the house. I'll just be around here downstairs, if anybody needs me.
Of course. That leaves Mrs. Wright and I.
He's quite fond of them, you know.
I can imagine. He looked terribly upset when we told him he can't have his garage.
I meant the daffodils. We always have a vase full of them in every house we own. Somewhere.
Somewhere.
I'd like to think. They may be about his mother. He never talks about her. I don't even know her name.
His mother? Some information that we're gonna find out.
He likes to flatter, claim that they remind him of me, but he's always loved the flowers, even before we married.
So maybe the daffodils could remind Luke of his mother, probably, instead of Hannah. That probably might be it. Who knows? Much like the piano, I didn't take him for a person who liked flowers. Daffodils, least of all. What's next? Am I going to find out that Mr. Wright saves kids from burning buildings? like he's that much of a hero.
I'll go and snoop about upstairs. You go and do whatever it is that you have to do.
When she goes without even asking if I need her here, I'm left standing to stare at the walls. Really, I don't need to do a thorough inspection of the building itself. It isn't really part of an interior designer's job. But the architecture in me is committed to doing this task with every project. If I'm going to make a living space that have both form and function, I might as well make sure that the entirety of this is safe for my clients. Since I'm already here, I'm going around the dining hall to check things off my punch list, if you will. But when it's time to move on, I hesitate. Mr. Wright said he would be somewhere around here on the ground floor, and I really didn't want to be alone with Whiskey. I have to look around through the place, eventually, sure. But on the other hand, I can do it later when he's gone. I can go upstairs first, if I want to. Which floor should I go first? Check the ground floor or check the first floor? I don't know. That is a good question. Should I check the ground floor or the first floor? I mean, I would say go for the ground up, and since she's already on the ground floor, I might as well check, but... Does it affect the relationship between Hannah and Luke? I don't know. Alright, just because there's one troublesome client shouldn't mean I'll let him get in the way of my work. The parlor is my first destination. Mostly because I figure Mr. Wright is hiding down in the wine cellar and making plans there. I'm going to bump him sooner or later, but I'd rather make it later. Much, much later. The place upon closer inspection is in good shape. I don't doubt this place was done with the most care, considering it would be one of the first rooms visitors would see during the open house. There's a stain on the carpet, most likely by one of the guests at the time, but it isn't anything a good cleaning can get rid of. Next is the music room. Or at least, that's the plan.
Locked? Oh, come on now.
I was getting a little bit jumpy there. I rattled the doorknob again, harder this time, double-checked, and even gave it a good budge to see if it isn't a problem with the door itself. But no, definitely locked. That is weird, considering the rest of the rooms aren't. That's odd. What's going on? It could be just this one, though. And I could try the other door through the ballroom, if I really wanted to get in. That's when I heard it. The sound of a piano? That was just plays one note, over and over again. It makes the hairs in the back of my neck stand, and I back away from the door. Though, I wasn't exactly the superstitious sort, what am I going to do? The room is locked. I can't just go back to it later. Maybe see if I can go through the ballroom and... Oh, it had to be Luke. Music room door opens, and who else but Luke Wright stands by the doorway. He looks a lot like a cat that ate a canary, and I didn't appreciate the way his eyes linger on me.
Isn't it common sense the locked doors mean someone wants a bit of privacy? You didn't try and break the door down.
Privacy? I guess that's how they call it, like privacy. I don't know.
Or did you just want to see me again that badly without the misses?
How about this? No!
I don't see why you would, though, Mint. Nothing really happened between us.
Well, I wasn't looking for whiskey. I was just going around to do my inspection. Thought it needed a push, just in case the door was stuck and actually needed repairs.
So you really are some fancy interior designer, huh? Had you told me you were one, I would have called you a piss taker.
Wow.
I figured you'd be, I don't know, an assistant going for a drink after a week with a tosser of a boss.
I'm just glad you thought me any sort of professional with how ossified I was. I must have not looked the part, so I understand your surprise.
He doesn't offer a witty retort, and he grows quiet for a moment.
At first glance, Hana didn't look like some fancy finance manager when I first met her either. She was the pretty daughter of this rich, powerful man.
So you only can think about his looks? And of course thinking about money and all that?
When she was introduced, they told me that she was not there as the man's daughter, but as a part of management. I thought it dubious. All the beautiful women I knew before her, they used their looks to get what they want. And there she was, with all that she could ever need in life, and yet she works hard to earn her keep.
Of course, unlike you.
It sounds like you admire her.
Hearing that, I too can't help but feel admiration for Mrs. Wright, sorry.
You enjoy your job, don't you, Mint?
It helps me earn my keep, as you would put it. A bit strange to say out loud, but it gives me purpose as well.
Do you think then that, maybe, Hana would want to go back to being a working person?
Taking it back at his question, I wait for further clarification. What makes him ask this? And why me of all people, right? But when I see that no explanation is coming, I think, You should ask her, or she seems content. That is a good question. I mean, back when, we're in... What's his name? Shit, what was his name? I forgot what his name is. He's the one before Marianne, but, it was revealed that, she's actually pregnant with his child. But at the same time, we found out that, he had impregnated, Rochelle, and she is fathering his bastard child, even though she's married with another person who was an officer or something. But, yeah, I mean, in my assumption right now, he's just only going after them for looks and just probably hide the fact about that, but I don't know. Is she content, or he could ask her? That is a serious question. I don't know if this is going to be affecting the relationship with Luke or Hannah. I mean, Hannah's way up there. Let's see. Ask her if she seems content. You know, it would be wise to at least just ask her.
Shouldn't you be asking her this? Isn't her opinion much more important than that of someone you just met in a pub a few nights ago?
Oh, that Rose look. Shit.
You're a woman, and I figured you might know more. I mean, people are always saying that women are fulfilled by having husbands and having a good home.
No.
But then, I see ones like you who look happy having jobs. Maybe she's like you, and having a job would be better for her.
Just because I'm a woman? You do know we don't all think the same way. But I don't know, I'm not married or anything, but this shouldn't be a complicated matter. She's your wife for how many years? Talk to her. Ask her what she wants. Don't you guys talk during supper or something?
That gets him thinking. Or at least, it looks like it does.
Well, I should let you get back to work. Thanks for talking with me, I suppose.
Probably he's trying to avoid the subject and not talk to Hannah, but he should. I mean, relationships is all about communication towards one another. I mean, you can't be keeping secrets. Because otherwise, just keeping secrets against each other, then what kind of relationship is that? I mean, it'll actually wear and tear and deteriorate it as time goes on. I mean, just like me and my husband, I mean, he and I don't keep secrets from each other, and we've almost been married for almost 5 years. Jeez, 5 years since he and I have been married. But, yeah, I mean, it's always best to communicate it with your spouse or your significant other and all that, so you can actually figure out what he or she wants.
Right. But anything goes awry if you take my advice. Just remember that I'm not some marriage counselor, so take it with a grain of salt.
My marriage goes down the shitter, I'll sue you. Noted.
Wait, that's not...
Too late. Well then. That takes a turn. He takes a step back from the music room, shuts the door, and leaves me there looking gobsmacked. He wasn't serious, was he? That man. I don't understand him at all. The marriage goes down the shitter. Has all his relationships been like that? Is this actually our first marriage or something? Or is this probably in this marriage just for the money and just for fame and all that? Yeah, I am really concerned and more questionable about what's going on, especially Luke, and what his intentions are. One moment, he's this huge arse, and then he's this person to the next. He's probably acting like this while Hannah's not around, so he can actually be sneaky about it.
Odd guy. Still needs a good arse kicking if you ask me.
Okay, so thinking about going into the music room then. That's fine. I'll have to go out there sooner or later. In the meantime, I can go around and check the rest of the house. All my worries fade when I step into the ballroom. And, well, the whole place is just grand, isn't it? I can see why the Wrights made sure nobody else would take this place from them. Anyone who has it will certainly be belle of the ball, and pretty much one great big status symbol. I don't think I could do much of a thorough inspection in this room, so I note it down for later. Moving on to the kitchens, I check the ventilation and the general fire safety in the kitchen. This bit is important for a place this size. I would, of course, suggest bringing an actual fire safety inspector over for a more detailed inspection. I wouldn't do to see such a beautiful architecture go in flames, after all. I take measurements of the countertops and cabinets, note down what type of wood they use. They wanted some of these recreated to hide modern appliances. There's a loose floorboard in the farthest corner of some of the others that had scratches, but everything else seems to be in decent shape. The concentration is broken when someone knocks.
You can come in. Door's not locked.
I wait, expecting Mrs. Wright or her butler to come in. I don't like this. But nobody answered. Instead, there's that knocking again. It's louder and more urgent this time, and I'm pretty sure I didn't lock the thing.
All right. I'm coming. Just hold on.
I don't like this feeling one flippin' bit. When I moved over the door, I realized something. The knocking isn't coming from the door, but from somewhere else. It's gotta be the cellar. The wine cellar. The trapdoor. Oh shit. I paused for a second, waiting. But the knocking has not ceased. I'm trying to foreshadow something. What if that spirit, I mean, just let me stop for a second. What if that spirit, that woman, maybe a long time ago that there's at times where she's trapped in there or something, imprisoned there? And in the picture, I think it was a memory clip that happened after, what's his name? I forgot what his name is. Hold on, let me check the relationships first. Zachary, that's what his name. After Zachary's point of view, maybe that cellar was used for something else instead of a wine cellar. But I don't know. We'll figure out as we progress the story. That doesn't sound good. And as soon enough, it becomes desperate. The dull thuds from before switch into what seems to be scratching? Desperate and insistent at once, as if grasping for respite. Or respite, I don't know.
Is somebody stuck down there? Fuck!
Where did that come from? How did it even get down there? That put the heart crossway in me. It did. I love cats, but they have no business giving people a fright. For a second there, all those ghastly rumors about this place had me flooding back. Now, peering into the darkness of the open trapdoor gets me thinking. And it gets me curious. Seriously though, I should really make sure there aren't any more surprises from down under. I don't think the Wrights would appreciate it if we had a litter of kittens making a house of the wine cellar. Mr. Wright seemed the type to skin a cat if any of his precious wines were to be contaminated. I'm done with the kitchens anyway. Whoa. Judging by how the cellar looks, I'm probably right. Who knows? Or maybe some, like, a hidden corridor or something that leads somewhere. Going down a flight of stairs while wearing high heels is always a bad idea. Ascending into a dark underground only makes it worse, but I manage anyhow without any major slip-ups.
These stairs need work, that's for sure.
Surprisingly, the wine cellar is in good condition. No water damage from last year's flooding, and apart from the dust and cobwebs that have accumulated, the place will likely hold for several more years. Racks and barrels line the walls, making the spacious room look smaller than it is. I'm no expert, but it looks good enough for immediate use without any further additions. Bloody Whiskey will be having a field day. I think so anyway, until I feel something crunch beneath my feet. Whatever few bottles were left behind are now nothing but glass under my heels. The cat's fault, I'd wager. And it makes a downright mess, with red slick pooling from the remnants of a good drink. There's a lot of stuff to have just been a few bottles, though. A whole trail of it flows to the end of the room when I followed, fully expecting a leaking barrel or whole upturned rack. Instead, it just keeps going until it stops into a large puddle at the very back wall.
What a waste of wine. Why is it so sticky, though? Ugh.
It's thick, too. Nothing like wine. They'll tell me it's blood. Of course, it could be just mold.
Maybe it's not wine. Go on, touch it.
Who
I
the-
dare ya.
Who the hell are you? Despite it all, I find myself answering. Because it's her voice. Amy Lorraine? So that's definitely not a younger version of Hannah. So maybe that's the girl from her memories or something? Lovely Amy. Pretty Amy. I can imagine her standing there with me, laughing and pestering me as I did my work in the way only friends can. Sorry. She was my friend, the only one that I had at St. Samthon's. I was a scholar, the charity case, in a school for privileged and prestigious young girls. They all looked down at me, if they cared to look at me or acknowledge my presence at all. Well, except her. Sometimes I wish for the good old days, when we were friends. Now she's nothing but a ghost, though I try so hard to get over her. Has she died? Or probably died at a younger age or something? I really, really do.
What am I, 5 years old? Oh, damn it, it's stuck under my shoe.
I double dare you. Hell, I double dog dare you. Don't be such a scaredy cat. It's probably wine. What else could it be? Blood?
That's what I was thinking.
Don't be ridiculous. Why would there be blood down here?
If I was the joking sort, I would have said it might be the reason why the previous owner sold the place. Maybe the ghost stories were actually true, and they wanted to get away from the walls that dripped of ectoplasmic goo, and whatever other ghouls haunted about, sorry. Doubt it. I hardly believe in any of that voodoo nonsense as it is. But as I stare in the mess of my feet, probably looking like a fool where I'm at, I notice something strange. It isn't visible, unless one is really paying attention, but I can see the red gunk seeping through a crack in the wall.
What's this, then?
I worry about structural damage and damage to the foundation. I worry about the wine cellar, as the wrong conditions can lend to the deterioration of its contents if temperature and humidity are not controlled. Up until I see how clean cut the crack is. It runs along the edge of the wall and vertically along it, where a door could be. I might be right. That might be the door that led to that hidden room where that one lady is being tortured. Pressing my hand against the wall lends credence to the idea that I try to feel where it would give way.
Ooh, could it be an adventure then? A secret passage? There must be a hidden switch somewhere. Go look. This is the most interesting thing you've done by far.
There's a hidden room there. That could certainly explain the discrepancy in the mansion's floor plans. It would be too far-fetched to think that there would be hidden rooms and passageways all over the house, if we're to follow that logic. And boy, isn't that exciting. This feels like something strange out of a game. Suddenly, she touches my arm and I flinch away in shock. That shouldn't be possible. I understand auditory hallucinations, maybe even visual hallucinations. But that was...
You look surprised. What's wrong?
You? That's not possible. You're...
dead.
Aren't you happy to see a dear old friend, though? I'm hurt, I am.
What the hell is going on here?
Oh, isn't it obvious? I come back for you.
That don't look good.
So that we can be together again.
When she touches me once more, I recoil. What does she mean, together again? She's dead.
No! Leave me alone!
Leave you alone? But I just got here.
Turning around, I met with the Wright's butler to look at me with an indifferent look. And when I look back, Lorraine is gone.
I wasn't talking to you, just thinking aloud is all.
You should really avoid talking to yourself, Kint. Do more of that and others will think you're insane.
Yes, thank you. Is that all you're here for, or has your master sent you running down here for something?
Oh, no, I am just down here to admire the place. I've not been inside before. I thought I would look around before we return to the city. The car is already running, you see, and I suggest you go back to the foyer, unless you wish to be left behind. It seems you are in good company already, after all, with this house and your imaginary friend.
Wait, we're leaving already? But I haven't finished inspecting the rest of the house.
Be that as it may, there's a sulking man-child up there who wishes to go home. We are all subject to his whims, lest he throw a tantrum.
I can't help but smile at that. He's a strange guy. I still can't imagine how he can work with a guy like Luke, though. Luke Wright, though. I imagine the blonde arse ain't an easy guy to get along with. Whatever the butler has having to tolerate that, I want 10 of it.
And we wouldn't want any soiled knickers or spilled milk. Why don't you go head on and I'll be right there.
Very well. Do be careful on your way back. I saw some broken glass on the way and it would not do to cut yourself on them.
I will, yeah. Just tell Mr. Wright not to blow a gasket or anything. I'll be just a minute.
Speaking of blowing gaskets, there's something else dangerous here. Whatever's behind the door, it could pose some problems. That's the hidden room, probably. Best case scenario, it'll only ruin good stocks of wine. But who knows what's behind the false wall? I have to come back to it. Darn it, I wanted to look into it! Alrighty then, so I'm definitely gonna leave it over here. Whew. So, that Amy person, that's definitely not the younger version of Hannah, so it was actually a friend of hers that she knows back when she was attending a university or something. I don't know. But yeah, I guess I was right when she is actually dead, but this is raising a lot of questions about why she's there, or probably it's the spirit that has been, what is it? Probably the spirit has been messing up with her mind and trying to think that it was actually Amy that's in there, but it's probably trying to get into her head. And of course, Luke Wright, the fucking bastard. I don't know, but we'll try to break things up in the next episode, so alright. That's all for now. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you in the next episode. See you then!